So up next, let's talk about White Men Can't Jump.
Oh boy.
Not to be confused with the 92 film, right? So
Mhm.
allow me to begin, right? Because I have, just a couple things I want to share on the film itself, right? On this version, right? So, saw the trailer. So actually, I like, saw the teaser for this new movie here, this remake, right? And instantly I saw it, I was like, okay, we're really doing this? Alright, well, at least it coming out on Hulu, at least it's not coming out in theaters, yay, so I can watch it home, cool, right? And that was that, right? And then, I waited a while and I was like, oh, it coming out, this week, right? As in the time of us record. Well, I should say last week, right? It came out, right? So the thing is with this show here, right? So two things, right? Go with fit, right? One, it's a remake of the 92 film of the same name, right? Which I actually recapped in preparation for this, right? And agree to disagree, Ricardo. I kind of love that film. It's
Okay.
great. Yeah, the
Yeah, I
original
mean,
White Man Can't Jump is great,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now,
It's one of those movies that I is iconic in a sense, but
yeah,
I don't remember the movie or what it was about exactly. You just remember the aesthetic of it, like, oh well.
yeah,
But we gotta talk about that because again,
yeah,
I have the exact same problem with this that I have with his last movie. Uh, you know,
yeah. Well, the
right,
director himself, Kalmatic, yeah, because
right,
he did the remake of House Party, which came out
right,
earlier this year, which Kid Cudi saved. He
right,
genuinely saved that movie. He
right.
was the
And
funniest thing about that movie, right?
this time it have no Crit Cudi this time, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But before we get to that film, right? So I will recommend Ricardo that you recap the first film because it actually is a lot better than I remember it though. So
right,
quick backstory. I'm moving quick, right? So I will never forget, right? 92, I was growing up. Yes, I knew how big that movie was because it was just all over the TV and newspapers and whatnot, right? But I was too young to see it, right? Because it was a rated R comedy, right? I remember it showed years later on TV6. Of course, they cut out all the F bombs and whatnot, right? But I kind of got the gist of it, but it didn't click with me, right?
right.
So watching it now, I'm like, wow, this shit like real good though. You know what I mean? So first off, right, Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, right? They were on
Right.
top of the games, right? Especially Wesley Snipes, because this is coming
Yeah.
right after. Well, he had two big films in '91. That would be New Jack City, i.e., one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and
Right.
Jungle Fever, right?
Right.
And of course Woody
But
Harrelson, he was big off of Cheers, right? Yeah.
right. Well, exactly. But that's the difference. That this, I don't
I,
know.
I
Well,
know we'll
right.
compare the two. We'll compare the two, right?
Right.
So looking at it now, right? What makes the show work, right? Is that on paper it could have just been simply what it was marketed as. Oh, black street baller slash hustler. Trying to make it big, trying to make money. It's like, hey, I could beat you guys. All right, who's here? Who's your point man? Whatever it is. All right, let me just pick this white boy. Ha ha ha! The white man. Ha ha ha! He can't ball. Look at him. Ha ha ha! Right?
Right.
And you realize, oh, the man could actually play basketball, right? So
Right.
that's where it is surface level, right? But really, what catch me though is the hustler nature of the show that work with me, man. Like it reminds me of stuff like say The Color of Money or The Hustler. It's about the
Right.
hustler. It's just about
Yes.
all right, how far you're gonna go to make that money, right? And that's where you get these great backstories. We with Wesley and his wife and son trying to do right by them, trying to get them out to the hood, basically. Woody and his girlfriend, who's played by the body herself, Rosie Perez.
Right. Right.
Their
Chosen Hooker.
situation with paying these mobsters, all that kind of stuff. So they have stakes there, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like like they skilled in the field of basketball, right? But at the same time, you could tell that they're not going to go as far with that skill than just hustling and playing street ball. That because they can't see beyond that now. And I love how the show addresses that, right? So yes, on surface level, it is kinda about race, but it's not really about race. It's really
Right.
about capitalism at the end of the day. That's really what it is, right? And while I say that too, just talking quickly, is with Rosie Perez's backstory, which I thought was great. Where yeah, she want to make something of herself. So her idea is that she wants to go into Jeopardy, like the game itself, right? And
Right.
and and win money there, right? And do right, and provide for themselves, right? So yeah, she's reading books and she's trying to learn all kind of stuff, and then eventually she goes on to Jeopardy, and you actually see, a young Alex Trebek, right? That was really cool. But yeah,
Yes.
again, it's just that pursuit of money, now, and that's what make that show work, right? Yes, it is about basketball too, and you get some great basketball moments. So if you're a sports fan, yes, it is a great sports film, right? But it's really the hustler mindset and how far these characters will go. That's what make that show work for me, right? And lastly, what also make it work too is the chemistry between Wesley and Woody. It was just so spot on, but like just the moment they meet each other, like my name's not Chump, it's Billy Hoyle. Billy
Yes.
Hoyle. Billy Hoyle. Billy Hoyle. Okay, Billy, like that is what most that still is a moment that always stick out to me, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
What I
it's just the
remember,
comedic timing and just how just the back and forth and the energy with it works, right? I'll just close with one last thing, right? One last thing, and then I'll shut up, right? And now we have to talk about the title, because yes, the title is what's gonna be addressed in this remake here, right? So yes, there's a moment, slight spoiler, where after a game, right, Wesley's pretty much taunted. He is kind of talking shit to Woody, right? So in street ball now, as is established in this movie, is there's shit talking is part of it, right? You have to talk about your mama, like your mama's so big and all that kind of stuff, and fuck you and all that kind of stuff. They do that, right? But there's a moment where Wesley pretty much just tell Woody white man can't jump, because throughout the film we haven't seen him actually jump to the hoop, right? And then well he does it and he feels right, and that kind of blows up in his face. There, I'm not gonna say how, right? But yeah, something like that is just kind of meant to taunt him in a sense now, right? Is that telling everybody who watch this film, yeah, white men can't jump in general? Cause bro, when white men was played in NBA prior to when this movie came out, just saying.
well,
So the
it's
film knows
it's
that, but it kind of
yeah.
poking fun at it too. So it's not just a provocative title for the sake of just provoking you. It kind of makes a point too. It's part of the whole shit talking aspect, and
Yeah.
just the way how somebody like Wesley, from where he's from, his character would look at Woody and be like, yeah, like look at you, you can't jump, look at you, like. But to the show's defense, we never really saw him do it until the end, and that was when I was like, oh shit, he can, right? But that was because he went through so much shit in the show. So it's like, all right, this is the last game we're gonna play. I'm gonna really give him all, and he does it, right? So it's not just a title per se, it kind of fits within the story being told. I just wish they did that here with this movie, but whatever. But yeah, Ricardo, before you jump into what this remake is about, and there's another aspect about the show, but I'll talk about it when I get into my review. But yeah, Ricardo, anything you remember or admire about the old film before jumping into this remake?
Yeah, it's yeah, that was it. It have a couple little facts I could create. Like in the, I just know the backstory, some of the backstory stuff. Like I know one little factoid is that Wesley Snipes, even though he's a well fit person and martial artist, blah blah blah, he actually can't play basketball. Like
Yeah, well, he and
like
Woody could play, but
no
he and
Woody,
Woody could play though.
no, Wesley Snipes can't play. Like at the time, he couldn't play
Uh,
at all.
oh, Woody couldn't play. Oh, okay. Well,
No.
wow.
Wesley couldn't play, right? Wesley Snipes
Really?
could right, but Woody Harrelson is actually very good at basketball. He's like he used to play college ball if I
Wow.
remember correctly or something like that. So like it's a little like funny inversion in the reality of it.
That
Uh
that is that is really amazing though.
yeah.
I thought Wesley was the one who can and Woody
No,
couldn't.
no. It's the opposite. But yeah, the movie, yeah, it's one of those movies that again is up to me is working its time because of the conceit of well, yeah, even the white guys who do play in the NBA, none of them can really dunk, and that is kind of making the running the joke. Like that is a whole thing. How many white guys is dunk? Yeah, the kind of running that kind of running myth is a myth. It is not true, but the reason why the 3-pointer exists is for white guys to have a part in basketball, and kind of nonsense, right? Uh, and it's stuff like that, right? It played on all these conceits of it, and it does at the time, racial dynamics of the time and the early 90s, late 80s. Yeah. The movie
Mm.
totally works, aesthetically does work. Did they weren't they on another movie after this, Money Train, I
Oh,
think?
I forgot to mention. Yes, they won Money Train, which
Right,
is
right.
really
So it
forgettable.
well, I remember having some fun with it. But yeah,
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 it's dumb
it is
fun,
largely
but yeah, I
it
don't
is
remember
yeah.
that shit at all.
Right. But yeah, no, they try to, the two of them try to, a little partnership career, something like that. But yeah, it is kind of boring from the whole 48 hours stuff. White guy, black guy, yeah, the white guys do this and black guys do that, blah blah blah. But that's about it. But it like aesthetically does hold up, for the most part. And well, we had to get into this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is this remake about? Because we should let you know, folks. They are telling a much different story here,
Right.
but
Yeah.
they borrow certain beats from the old film. But I'll
Right.
mention them in my review. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. Yeah. This one changes the conceit because this character now he kind of washes out of college ball and doesn't get into the NBA, but almost does. I forget the exact like Like I wasn't clear on the
No,
exact like dynamic of it.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, like he was doing the college ball thing, and then, well,
Right.
some fan, which is weird but kind of believable, some fan insulted him about the father, 'cause the father was going through hard times, and then, well, he
Right.
beat the shit out of him, and then, well, you know.
Yeah, it's correct. No, it's correct. And right, his career fell apart because I know he was like a popular celebrity. Because I mean, cause here's the thing, eh? When I first watched this and I started watching, like, oh shit, Dwayne Wade in this movie. I was like, no, it's not Dwayne Wade. And then they make a joke about that. It's like a fake ass Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I remember that. Hmm.
Right. There's stuff like that. But yeah, what was the exact story? Right, so he washes out, but I forget why Jack Harlow. I'm gonna get into why Jack Harlow is probably one of
Oh,
the worst casting.
I'll talk about Jack Harlow
Yeah,
too.
some of the
Yeah. Jack
worst.
Harlow had this injury, two ACLs, two torn ACLs. Sorry.
Right.
So he trying to get back into it. So he trying to raise money so he could get stem cell. It is some stem cell treatment or some so for his knees. That's the motivation. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, it's there's two of them having to hustle. They hustling bad. They doing the thing, and then well, they basically get to the point where they had to win certain things, and one of them bring a $20, and they having dynamics bouncing off each other, and yeah, I was so underwhelmed with the shitter. Here's the thing.
Hmm.
It's not as bad as House Party. But because House Party had Kid Cudi saving it and making it actually funny, I kind of hate this more than House Party. That's how I feel about it. Even though I think structurally it's a little better than House Party. That's how I feel about it. It kind of dumb. They make a bunch of things. One of the big problems is Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow is terrible in this. Like, holy, he can't act. I don't know. Here's the thing. I only know about Jack Harlow because of Lil Nas X. And like, why didn't you just get Lil Nas X and them to come together? Like, they actually like seem to be funny or whatever it is. They could have get Lil Nas X to come true. They could have been the thing.
And that would have made a real interesting like perspective on basketball, like having
Or
a black
something.
gay man like play
Something,
it
right.
or
Do
something,
something, right. Do something
Yeah.
interesting with it. Another problem is I don't know who the black guy is. Who's the I don't know
Oh,
who this
I
dude.
didn't even
He's a real
he is
basketballer apparently. Who's
no,
this?
his name is Sinqua Walls.
Right.
I don't even first time I seen him too. He's
So he's gonna
probably
be
in
an
other shows,
actor.
but I don't know him.
Okay, terrible.
Yeah.
He just so forgettable as I say, fake ass Dwayne Wade. The only reason, the only reason thought I really thought, oh shit, they get Dwayne Wade to come in this movie to play the character, so they go get real basketball. And that's the biggest problem I have with this. The basketball sucks. It's terrible. The basketball in this, wow, they shoot this so badly because
Yep.
last year we had a movie about hustling called
Hustler, hustle,
Called Hustle.
hustle. One of the
That is
year's
how you're
best
supposed
films, bar
right.
none. Yeah.
And that
And
is how you're
yes, while
supposed
I
to
was watching this show, I was thinking, but God, but Hustle addressed
do
this
this so
better.
much better.
Hustle touch on this too much
So
better.
much better. Right. And I was like, so why does brother even make this? And that's my problem with this dude, Dread. The man don't like make it is really it's too low effort. It way too low effort. Like you could it didn't adopt this, the race relation. None of those race relations things make any kind of jokes because I don't know what they're trying to do with this. They modernize race relations, but um it just like how that crappy Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy movie was. Like
Oh, good thing I bring up that too,
yeah,
because yes, I was thinking about you people while I was watching
yeah.
this too.
So it's like what it's supposed to be this modernized race relation that they don't think out at all, and this kind of it feels so lazy and this kind of boring. I don't know. None of it is interesting or engaging. I couldn't get into it at all. It main problem it wasn't funny. Big problem I have with that. And then, I just felt, yeah, again, if you're modernizing the conceit, you gotta make it smarter or more intelligent or well thought. And that's the problem. More or less the exact same problem I have with House Party. I get that you're doing something different, but you need to think it out a little better than this. And yeah, it's just too low effort for me to enjoy, Dread.
Yeah, I agree, man. Where do I start, right? So let me start off with maybe the main reason why people will watch this in the first place, right? Outside the title, Jack Harlow himself, right?
Right.
So I am not on the Jack Harlow train, right? But for
Again,
me,
the
as
only
a hip
reason I
hop
know
head,
about this dude, only reason I know about who this dude is because of industry beef.
right?
Yeah,
Good thing I bring up that, right? Good thing I bring up
yeah.
that, right? So I just always try to be in the know when it comes to new rappers on the scene, right? So of course, when Jack Harlow came out with "What's Poppin'" back in like what 2020,
Right,
by the
right.
way, surprise, surprise, that song plays the end, right? Which is kind
Of
of
course.
funny because, slight spoiler, Tyler Herro was in the end of the movie. I thinking, oh, they're gonna play that song. It's like, nope, they played the song, the single he put before "What's Poppin'," like the breakout single. There, you think they would
Right.
have played Tyler Herro, even though that is like probably the best song on that debut album he put out. That's what they all say, just in my opinion. But that was like a missed opportunity. But whatever, right? So when it comes to Jack Harlow, right? He's a good rapper. He's not a great rapper. He's a good rapper, right? I know a lot of people was talking shit last year, like when he dropped the project. What is "Come Home, the Kids Miss You"? Because he had this song called "First Class," and people like real talking shit about the hook, which borrows from what's the name by Fergie with "Glamorous." When you
Right.
hear it, you'll know what I talk about, right? But people's like real talking shit because he has some kind of line about sweet semen. It was real fucking bizarre, right? But yeah,
Right.
it was weird, right? But I think like he's a good rapper, like technically, right? It's just people like a lot of people just like kind of talking shit. In particular, two reasons, right? One, obviously, he white, and two, because they feel like he borrows a lot from Drake, and
Right.
I cannot agree with the latter.
So
He
you're
he
borrowing,
kind of
you're
he kind
borrowing.
of rips from Drake.
Okay, Drake is Mr. Rip-Off man himself. Wow, that was,
No, right?
yeah.
No, but I mean Drake is so influential, right? So you can
Well,
understand other
yeah,
people kind of borrowing from him, right? But
yeah,
at the same time, it's like you don't necessarily have to have the same cadences and flows like him, But that is what Jack does. He can't help himself. I'm sorry, right? So long story short, like just the other day, like just a while back, he dropped his third album, Jackman, right? Where it was more introspective and more about who he is and he come up and all that too. And it's cool. Like I actually like it. He actually mentioned the fact that he get this opportunity to work on this film. Like he had a line where he kind of mentioned being able to star in a movie. He's like, okay, that's clever. All right, yeah. Um, but it just feels so scant, boy. Like it just you kind of tell him about the come up, but you don't really tell him anything. Is that kind of problem now? And he just does it in about 25 minutes. So you just come out of it like, wow, that was just it just kind of flew past by, right? But long story short, as a rapper, he does what he does. He good, right? As an actor, however, oof.
yeah,
And I understand, even though I don't know a lot about him, I know Jack Harlow is a basketball fan, right? Why would you call your track Tyler Herro if you're not an NBA fan, right? Of course, I get it. So I understand why he would be in a film like this. I understand, like, because, we need a white guy who can play basketball and I guess could rap, so let's just pick Jack Harlow, right? Um, but he clearly shows his lack of strength, if you will, in acting. But like it wasn't horrible. Like it wasn't like I was cringing every time that he was on screen though. But it's just numerous moments where it's like, you just need to put in more, man. You know what I mean? The character himself and even Sinqua, who plays Kamal, I just couldn't get into. I just didn't care about them. And this is where I have to go to the comparison between this and the old film, right? At least with the old film, the characters, right? You cared about, right? Because again, they have this skill, they're doing this stuff, they're hustlers, right? But they have heart there, they're doing it for a good cause. It's just ego and the money and all that kind of stuff gets in the way, right? That's understandable. Here it's like, if they just get one break, just one break, right? They pretty much set. And sorry to say, that's what happened to Kamal in any film. It's just like, one little moment and yeah, he back to normal, right? Even though he went through what he went through, right? Same thing with Jack Hallow's character, Jeremy, right? What I try to say basically is that there's no real stakes for them, right? But the show goes out of its way to kind of build stakes. So, all right, so you have Kamal, his dad, right? Who is played, much to my surprise, by Lance Reddick, right? This is actually one of his final
yeah,
performances, right? And they actually
yeah.
paid
That was
tribute to him. That
shocking
was
to see.
cool.
Like he wasn't this way. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
when I see him at the very beginning, it's like, oh, you in this? What?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But and here's where I'll touch on my main issue with the film, right? The original film is a comedy drama, right? So
Right.
you have genuine moments of laughter, right? But it comes more in the dialogue more than anything else, right? The quips and the banter, especially when they on the courts, right? But here the humor was just sorely lacking, Dread.
Yeah, flat.
But what surprised me though is that they really lean into the drama part though. but a little too much, boy, compared to the original one. Because yes, there were your downer moments and all that kind of stuff, but like in this one here, you have this thing with Kamal father who have this terminal illness and he could die, and then they just had to. Well, I mean, it's no surprise what happens, right? But it's when it happens, right? It's like, really, film? You really want to do this? This is how you want to build stakes? The man doing something that he loves. So let's just throw this wrench here and just say, oh, well, this happened. So yeah, to throw you off, but it's like, come on, Mandra, like, you know what I mean? It's like that, right? But yeah, it's just there was little to no stakes for these characters, right? Jeremy, all right, I want to get back into play basketball, but trying this hustle thing and selling what is by I forget what you call it by, but just basically detox formulas, whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know what it is, right? Just basically that. It's just the characterization and just the stakes would not just didn't rope me in at all, right? But the dramatic stuff, I felt like yeah, they just lean a little too much into it, and you really feel it too because yeah, the comedy was there, but it just fell flat. Mostly fell flat. Like I won't lie, there were a few moments where I chuckle at some points, but it just wasn't enough for me, man. Well, as you mentioned, Kid Cudi, there was no Kid Cudi to see this film. Who I thought was gonna see this film, and I was surprised to see him in this. Was my boy Vince Staples. Seeing this,
Right,
yeah,
right,
he
right.
wanna
Yeah,
come out
yeah.
friend. I like. But yeah, like I mean, I love you as a rapper. Like like you had one of the best albums of last year. You know, yeah, you had one of the best albums last year. But I don't see that you're a terrible actor. But you just not given any good lines though. It's just more feels improv like that. Like the only bit of characterization you really give him is that he into older women, like older white
Right.
women or some shit like that. That's the characterization they give him. There's this other guy who's with him. I forget his name. I know I saw him before, but like even he and all like character wise was just wasted to me, right? I didn't expect to see Tiana Taylor in this as well. I was like, hey, I know the
Right.
face from
I
somewhere.
think
It's like, hey,
Laura Harry was in this too. Like, okay, she's
yes,
she's fine.
Laura
Right.
Harrier was in it too. It's like wood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they just the typical, I'll hold you down. I doing my job, but
Right.
if you just do shit again, I'm gonna leave you, right?
Right.
Yes, it is very similar to the Rosie Perez character, but
Right.
here again, just no stakes involved. What I'm trying to say in general, right, is that I just never felt at any point in time that if something were to happen to them, that they will like their lives will be over or like their careers will be over. You know what I mean? I just never felt that, right? Because they
Yeah.
were in the field of basketball anyway, right? Even the whole hustling stuff didn't really work for me
You know
neither.
this remind me of a little bit. It just
Uh,
remind me of oh gosh, remember Jake Gyllenhaal, that boxing movie?
um,
Southpaw.
right, which I remember skipping out on, but I remember you saw
Right.
it. Yeah,
Right. And the big problem I had with Southpaw is that yeah, this don't make any sense now. Like not now.
right. Good thing you bring
It
up
makes
that.
sense. It makes sense in the 90s, it makes sense in the 80s, but it don't make sense now. Like how the world change, you know, thing. Again, they don't really evolve it in any workable sense. So like I don't,
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
the
yeah,
point? Yeah.
you're right, you're right. So that's just a few things before I get to read, but good thing you bring up that, right? Yeah, like the hustling stuff for the first film is just kind of here or there in this movie. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh well, we are, they had the goal to replicate certain scenes. So the moment where they went to Watts to play ball, that is
Yeah.
from the first film.
Yeah.
Right down to them coming down the flight of steps. That's from the first film. They did
And yeah,
that.
what is the original film had the flamethrower, right? That's the same thing.
No, no, no. But that moment was great in the first film where the
Right.
guy say he was going to get he was going for a gun, but no, but prior to getting the gun, he had to go and get extra money. So he tried to rob this store owner, but the store owner knew him as like, yo, I want to buy the gun from you. So he get the
Right.
money to do the thing there. That was clever. That was really clever, right? But yeah, that flamethrower part was just like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I don't know, right? But yeah, those moments didn't work for me. I just never felt that hustler aspect. It was just like people who it just came off like two characters who just had nothing to do. Hey, let me just make some money, right? Boom, right? So touching on the whole race thing and um how to touch it feels here now, right? Look at the title alone. White men can't jump. Realize I was never like that term itself is not addressed in the film because near the end Jack Harlow do a dunk. So it's like, what's the point of calling this movie White Men Can't Jump outside of just be like, oh yeah, that's like the film that came out in the 90s, right? That's why it's called that. But the point again, add with this, and I'll stop here, right? is that the show couldn't even find a way to address race, or at least the reason why these two characters, who kind of, oil and water, so to speak, how they could
Again,
actually like coexist, right? The first film
again,
did that well, right? One sec, one
exactly.
sec, one sec. The first film did that very well in a
Right.
subtle way, right? It didn't beat you over the
Yeah.
head, with race and all that kind of stuff, right? But it was there. You understand, in the world of that first film, why somebody could look at Woody Harrelson and say, "Oh, you can't play ball," and that would work in the hustle. That was what Wesley character was smart enough to say. It's a hustling thing, right? Bet on the white man. The white man kick all their ass, boom, right? They couldn't even accomplish that here. Here's the last film that I was thinking about while I was watching this, right? That addressed race in our time, so to speak. Blind Spotting.
Thank
That
you.
show
This
found a way to address
this
race
this is
in
what's so
LA.
this is what's so
In
frustrating. This is what's so frustrating about this, is that, bro,
right.
we have movies that already set the template of how to answer it. You ain't solving no problems here, and you're still
Yes.
fucking it up. I'm like, what?
Yes, the
Two,
show
and you have
does
two movies,
nothing to address it.
nothing
Nothing.
to address, nothing.
So it ultimately comes down to just a normal basketball movie that could have just been named anything else but White Men Can't Jump, because the title just don't, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work, right? It's
Yeah.
just there to sell the, the biracial
Another problem.
relationship between the
Another
two of them
problem.
now. Huh.
Another problem. Back in 1992, how many white basketballers you knew off the top of your head, right?
None.
Very
So
few, very few,
yeah.
right? To me, the first like really good, like amazing basketball player was that fella John Stockton, right?
Okay.
In jazz, right? And then later you had Jason Kidd and thing, right?
Mm.
Now we have like an amazing fucking Jokic, stomping the Lakers ass right now, right?
You're right.
Right? So I don't understand what they're trying to sell with this white man can't jump crap now. Like,
Thank you.
again, again, you had to just think this out, man. We too them a problem. We too.
Yeah.
I hate to use it's the current year argument, but it's the current year. Come on, too much time. It's 2023, and you still it feeling like backward. Like it does feel like what it is, a demake. It almost feel like a demake. Like if
D-make.
it, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if Thing was the remake in 1992, and this one was made in like 1975 or something like that.
Mm.
Like, it just not well thought out. Nothing interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In fact, if this was made in the 70s, it would probably be a more interesting thing. Here's another thing. We have freaking what we call it, boy, Winning Time,
Yes.
that doing basketball better than this. And
Yeah.
Winning Time is a largely fictional affair. Right? It based on real shit, but it's largely a fictional affair. Even that well thought out. I don't know, the writing, brother. Right,
Yeah, yeah, the,
oh,
the, the
right, this
writing,
shit.
the writing
Oh
is
my
bad
god,
though,
bro.
and
Yeah.
as I mentioned, the whole basketball scene stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't lie though. Yeah, they just bad.
Yeah.
Really, for me personally, right, it's just because you don't see enough of it. They just kind of show you glimpses of it. Even right down to like the main event, that's all I'll call it in the film, right? The main event. You don't see enough of the basketball itself. You don't see the banter. You don't see much of it. You just see it in glimpses now. Even in the first film, which by the way was directed by Ron Shelton, who I didn't even know directed Bull Durham.
Right.
A classic baseball, comedy drama, right? Starring
Right.
Kevin Costner, right? And yeah, I didn't even know that he was into sports films now. But throwing a little genre here or there, so it's he'll throw in the romantic comedy or drama, whatever it is, right? But the point is, you could tell like in that first film, he loved the art of basketball, Dread. So like in the final scene, for example, the final match, yeah, there's a lot of slow mo shots, and he just just going off of the art of playing basketball, right? And that's where you get the great moment where Woody does the dunk in the first place, right? You don't really get that there. It's just kind of sporadic. It just kind of happens and boom, it just
Yeah.
ends, right? But last thing, then I'll get to it, right? So comparing this to House Party, right? At least House Party, for what it was, right? The remake itself, right? Which I didn't hate, right? That was just like simple, like just premise wise is basic, right? It's a house party. We do
Yeah.
it at somebody's house, boom, right? That's it, right? In this case, is we actually like trying to touch on race relations, but we also trying to touch on how hard it is to be in the to make it big in the NBA and so on. But it just all it doesn't even like scratch the surface though. It's just kind of basic, kind of been there, done that, and it couldn't even do anything smart with the team of race. Because why would you name the show "White Men Can't Jump" if you don't even
If you're not
address
gonna
it?
do something
Sorry,
about race, thank you.
but we talked long enough about this. I really want to be charitable to this though because I kind of admire the effort made at drama though. But the reason why I noticed the dramatic parts more, unfortunately, is that the comedy was just severely lacking. Right. Jack Harlow is neither here nor there with me as far as acting goes. This if this is like the only time he ever decided to act, whatever, because he will continue to make a living rapping anyway. But ugh, that's all I have to say. Like he need to try harder, man. Right? But yeah, overall at the end of the day, this ultimately and unfortunately is kind of pointless. So rating wise, I have to give this a strong two to a very 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 light 2.5 out of 5, man. I kind of want my money back, but at the same time, if you're curious to see it. See, it's not like you have to go cinema to see it. It's on Hulu, so if you're curious, see it there. If you're a Jack Harlow fan, watch it. If you enjoyed House Party, watch it. But trust me, the original film is way, way
Yeah.
better and way more timely than what we get here. This is going to be forgotten, I would say, by year's end. And people will be
Yeah,
like,
it was
"Oh shit,
terrible.
that actually happened. Wow, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it was just It was just that unremarkable. I'm sorry. But yeah, Ricardo, final thoughts on Return.
Yeah, no, this was kind of just I don't know why this was just kind of pointless because I don't know why I make this if you're gonna just do this. It does feel the whole thing does feel kind of too low effort. And look, I tend to not knock people hustle like whatever you're doing your thing, fine. But geez, boy, like it too low effort for me to care, especially if you're gonna reference a supposedly classic film, right? Again, I don't think the original is a masterpiece or anything like that, but it's a movie I remember. And
Hmm.
I really thought they could have done something with it. And again, even at the time, other than Larry Bird, who you could have name off the top of your head as a big white basketball player, right? Not really anybody, right? For the most part, right? At least at the time, in the original. So you could kind of understand the conceit in the 90s about that, right? Until later, you have your Jason Kidd and Jason Williams or whatever it is. And now, like, yeah, we have a ton of white basketball players, mostly from Europe, admittedly. But, yeah, they're making it work for what it is. And so this idea of again, if you're doing White Man Can't Jump, please address the race conceit or at least, evolve the race conceit or something. Nothing. The problem is with this, as I say, current year, we had, with this blind spotting, we had, hustle last year. They could have mixed that, pull from some ideas. People do it better in different ways, and they sit down with the script. But yeah, this was way too low effort for me to enjoy. Yeah, I probably like a 3 out of 10 or something like that. This was pretty bad.